threw his little dog in a gunny sack, and his goldfish down the toilet bowl. Put the topper on his old Ford truck, he'd make California with some love.
We are live this morning with Mr. Matt Kuntz. Good morning, Matt. Happy Monday.
Good morning. Happy Monday.
Yeah, you and I were talking a little before this. It sounds like we both have plenty of things going on, which makes it a regular Monday.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I'm, is it the Aztecs or the Mayans where they have a sundial and they're waiting to see everything's gauged by where the sun is in relationship to their different holes on their structures. I think it's Mayan. I'm going to say Mayan, even though that's probably not right.
I'll have to look it up.
I have a piece on my window here, so the sun is like directly over my rooftop right now. So I have to, in order to make sure there's no blinding light into my face, I have to tilt the camera as the morning goes on, and so I've got like a 15-minute window before the sun comes in and burns me up. So I guess that'll be like our alarm clock.
Yeah, perfect.
How's the testing world? Has testing been good? We've seen quite a bit of development work, I would say, over the last 3 to 6 months. Has there been an uptick along with the development, or has it been something different?
No, I'd say it's pretty consistent. I'm going to put this down here so it's out of my way. Have you used products lately? I mean, things break, things don't work. There's always going to be a need for testing. Software testing is a little bit different than product testing, but reality is when you produce something, whether it's a widget, playground, there's quality controls that need to be in place. Software is no different, with the quality controls that go into place, and then how we go about testing the software that's customized. I think with purchase software, SaaS, software as a service, when you're buying it, someone's got to test it before you deliver it. But if people are using Salesforce as a package, if they use it straight out of the box, there's probably a lack or no need for in-depth testing. Whereas if you customize it, then you need to put those pieces in place.
And most companies do, right? Most companies do try to integrate it with other applications that are homegrown or third party, and so that's where that.
Yeah, the interfaces, the integration pieces are always a big thing. With API calls, retrieving data. You think about Amazon, where they're using multiple vendors, right? There's product pictures, images, there's descriptions, there's pricing. So everything has to get retrieved and displayed on the screen. So we have to make sure it's right.
So are you taking each one of those scenarios, order this product? Are you guys actually, you go through the process to make sure that as a user, it flows all the way through exactly how it's supposed to? Are you doing that for
there could be some heavy technical requirements of how and what gets retrieved and displayed. And then there's definitely usability or UX UI, how the customer would interface with the application that they're using and how they use it.
Yeah. Do you think developers today, when you're working with custom applications, do you think developers today are writing better code than they did 20 years ago? Is it easier to test or harder to test, or has it not changed?
I think it's gotten better just because there's a sense of quality that comes into play. The applications, the development tools that are around today aren't so archaic. There's still very good developers that consider those things, that test their own code. There's decent developers that may throw it over and make the QA team or the testers go about it and find the issues. So I think overall it's improved.
Okay.
But the complexity is a little bit different, right? When you're thinking about like mainframe programs, they did a lot of processing, so that was a validation that needed to get done. And now with the complexity and interfaces within applications and how data moves, data is a big thing now. where I guess it always was, but just the complexity of building a data warehouse, moving data all around systems, and then displaying it or retrieving it or storing it or transforming it. Um, that's a big piece,
Okay.
data side of things. Everything's data now, whereas aging ourselves 20 years ago was not so much.
Yeah. Have you seen I was talking to a young developer, and I'm not going to mention her name, but she was telling me over the weekend that she uses Chat GPT to come up with code
Oh,
these
really?
days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen any of that yet?
I personally have not. I know that they're working on AI platforms for testing. I haven't been exposed to it much. I think that might be a piece of the future that has to be vetted out. Um, someone's still got to build it.
Right. Yeah. I wonder though if, well, maybe it's not entirely different than developers that are going out and they're searching for chunks of code and copy and pasting it and putting their own, work in to try to edit it a little bit. Maybe it's
Oh,
not
it
too,
happens all the time. Yeah,
yeah,
with that
right.
piece of it too, people are searching and finding SQL code, JavaScript that they look at, they reuse, they rebuild. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
In
it
some
makes it
ways.
so much
Yeah.
easier today to go out and find stuff than it did a while back.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what the chat GPTs of the world do for that process. It'll, I would guess, do some significant hyperdriving on consolidating. Hopefully, it can bring back good code when you tell it you
Well,
need.
still can't play your guitar for you, so
Not yet, but it's pretty amazing what it does when it comes to just building a song. And I kind of a different discussion there, but I've often thought, I think the recording world is going to be drastically changed. I think humans still want to see a human up on stage playing guitar and singing. I don't think the need will be satisfied to watch a robot do that anytime soon.
well, music's about passion, right? I mean, it's got to touch you, it's got to hit your soul or mean something to you, and it's hard if you have a robot playing music. It might be okay. I think we went through that in the 80s with some of the 80s synthesized bands, but
Yeah.
you can't replace the human.
I don't think it'll be harder anyway. We'll see where it goes, but as far as just the recording part, you can, some of those systems, it's kind of depressing as a musician to to listen to how good they can create instrument tracks and singing tracks.
Right?
And but I don't think Taylor Swift's in at any risk. No one wants to see a robot up singing Taylor Swift songs yet anyway. We'll see what the kids bring.
Yeah, right.
Do you think have you seen any changes with automated and manual testing with?
Yeah, there's big demand. Obviously, people want to get into automation. I think we talked about it at our last podcast a little bit too. You got to look at the return on investment. You can't just say I'm going to automate everything and plan for it to be rerun over and over again. You got to invest the time in building it out. It's got to be repeatable. Someone's still got to maintain scripts when they fail. They have to look at why things are failing, have to report and investigate that. So it's no magic or silver bullet that fixes everything, but there's certainly been more demand just with the open source tools. Selenium's a big one. You're seeing more of like Cucumber and some of the API things that have been automated here. It certainly can expedite the speed to market and just reduce redundancy, right? If I have to go through a 40-hour regression testing suite before we can release something, we can automate that and run it overnight and be done with it, right? If everything passes. So there's certainly a value in it. I would, invite people to look at, do their due diligence to make sure that they're just not jumping into it blinded. Building an automation framework it takes some skill and some thought, with the data and repeatability of it, being able to baseline it. Same with performance testing. I think we talked about that too. You can't just run scripts and say, okay, it works, but you got to look at the scenarios, you got to be able to measure it, etc., to make sure it's effective.
Is performance testing easier today with packages being purchased? At least you know where the integration points are, and you can, instead of having to look at the entire universe, you can look at integration points. Is that a true statement?
Well, I think that there's some truth to that. If you customize it, that's where you're going to run into some issues. If you're buying a package, generally whoever's building that package will do the performance testing, or you look at the scalability of AWS, right? You don't have to worry about performance using cloud-based systems because they can scale up or scale down based on what you're looking at or what you're doing. That's the advantage, of purchasing products. You're not maintaining it or doing that work in-house.
When you look at do you have a prediction for what testing will be over the next, 10 years? Is it still a good area for people to jump into and become a tester in your mind when you look out over the next 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at what's offered today in collegiate classes. I mean, they focus on classes where they're going through, development, and they're going through the testing process or looking at quality, building quality into an application. So they're starting to do more of that, with the collegiate level, just making it aware that you're going to build something, you got to test it. So it's never going to go away. It'll morph, it'll change. There'll be nuances that come into play, but if you're going to build something, you're going to have to test it. Period.
Yeah. Well, Matt, thanks for your time this morning. It was you get the gold star for all the hurdles we ended up having to jump over to finally get this thing done.
Yeah.
With our technical issues. Really appreciate it. We should give a special shout out to our third musketeer, Tom Newman, who
couldn't make it today.
Yeah. We tried to get him on, but it ended up
missed him. We'll do it again, Kelly.
We always miss Tom, right? That's yeah. So have a great Monday. I know you're super busy. Once again, thanks for your time, and for everybody else out there, thank you for watching the podcast.
Thanks, Kelly.
Threw his little dog in a gunny sack, and his goldfish down the toilet bowl. Put the topper on his old Ford truck, he'd make California with some luck, and leave the godforsaken snow. Singing old John Denver songs, with his little dog barking along. Said goodbye to everything he ever knowed, just his little dog and fishing pole. Glad to hear this motor eating India, but happy to be living in America. 60 single and strong, and out there on the open road. For 40 years he broke his back, left his landlady with his pension check, and said, a little gift from me to you. Now he will bitch about the government and how tax money's spent, but still he bleeds red, white, and blue. He spent his last dollars on a new tattoo, a cold case of Miller and a Vegas screw that covers everything he needs. He wouldn't say he's lonely, but he's on his own. A man must walk this world alone when you're 60, single and stoned. He went flying like an eagle down the open road, said goodbye to everything he ever knowed, just his little dog and fishing pole. Glad to hear this morning single and stoned, and out there on the open road, just trying to make his way home, like a holy rolling stone, back up to heaven all alone, with his fishing pole and a little dog. He knows the past is dead and gone, 60 single and stone.